Start. Let people join meanwhile. Please
Okay.
start. You can start. Please.
A very warm good evening to each one of you present today. I feel honored to have with us Dr. D. Saha, former Additional Director, Central Pollution Control Board, New Delhi, President of Manipur Sakti and convener of seat, Professor Asa Gupta, faculty members of different colleges and university across the countries, members of Manipur Sakti and seat, and lastly, all the participants. Today, Manipur Sakti, in collaboration with Seat Manipur, is celebrating a World Ozone Day. I, Biteshwari Kangembam of Tamenglong College, feel privileged to welcome you all on behalf of Manipur Sakti and Seat Manipur. I welcome you all wholeheartedly on this occasion. I welcome our speaker, Dr. D. Saha, former Additional Director, Central Pollution Control Board, New Delhi, for sparing his precious time in delivering lecture about World Ozone Day. I welcome all the participants present here. I welcome members of Manipur Sakti and Seat. I also welcome Professor Asagupta, President and Convener of Manipur Sakti and Seat. In 1994, 16 September was declared as the International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer by the United Nations General Assembly. The day, also known as World Ozone Day, is marked to remind people about the importance of the ozone layer to our survival on Earth. This year, the theme for World Ozone Day is Montreal Protocol, keeping us our food and vaccine cool. So this webinar is organized to spread awareness among people about the depletion of the ozone layer and search a feasible solution to preserve our mother Earth. Now, I request Dr. Sophia Morantem of SK Kula College, Nambol, to introduce our speaker, Dr. D. Saha, Additional Director, CPCB, New Delhi, to the participant. So over to Dr. Sophia Morantem.
Thank you. Good evening, respected chief guest and all the participants. I, Sophia Moirangdem, Executive Member of SAKTI, happy to introduce Dr. Dipankar Saha, our chief guest of today's function, who is going to deliver on the theme Montreal Protocol, keeping us, our food and vaccines cool. Dr. Dipankar Saha was the former Additional Director and Head of Air Quality Measurement and Monitoring Division, Central Pollution Control Board, Delhi. Presently, he is an expert member, Environmental Appraisal Committee, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. He is also a Peace Ambassador in Dynamic Peace Rescue Mission International, Nigeria. Dr. Dipankar Saha was a brilliant student of the prestigious Calcutta University. He has been awarded honorary doctorate in diplomacy, humanity, and human rights by UN Economic and Social Council. He had set up Agra office of Central Pollution Control Board. His contribution to Agra can never be forgotten. He got the roads, or we can say no roads, but only potholes of Dolpur House repaired, which are still in good conditions. Residents of the area are indebted to him for his selfless service provided to them. Now, the plants planted by him in Agra are now big trees, making Agra clean and green. Now, I hand over the platform to respected sir for his priceless deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, connecting the Northeast to the virgin land of our country. And people may not be understanding the importance of Northeast, but I understand as ecologist and biologist, as environmental scientists as a whole, not in fragmented, totally in totality. So I welcome all types of questions, whatever it is. I am not the whole soul expert on this subject. The people are working, and I have taken some of the information from my own, some of the information I have taken from other sources also. And today also enrich my knowledge with the question answer from the participants. So Montreal Protocol keeping us, our food and vaccine cool. So it is, I do not know the way people have explained the matter, but what I understood, it is giving us a guarantee. The Montreal Protocol, whatever it is, the exemption, non-use of ODS, it is giving us a guarantee that it will keep us cool. That is, it will give us a chance to survive, and it can ensure our prosperity. If we maintain the protocol, it will also ensure that our food will be there, and it is the ozone, the shield that is acting as a vaccine shield for all of us. So we need to understand the ozone shield is really a vaccine shield for all of us, so making us peaceful, comfortable, and prosperous world. That is the aim of that particular aspect of the thing. There are negative aspects also, why it has happened, where it will happen, but in the world, this is the only protocol. That Montreal Protocol is the successful one, and this is today is the time for celebration. We must know how to celebrate our acts. That is very important. Once we do good work, once we do work for the people, once we are able to work for our society, and once we are able to associate with our motherland, with our actions, with our commitment, and with a time frame, this is our achievement. And once we achieve something, some result, that means we have the right to celebrate. So we will celebrate that day. We will not try to create any panic. We will try to discuss some of the aspects and issues of this protocol, why it is being happened, and what is the story behind it. So Ozone Day, today is 16 September. This is an historical day for all of us with respect to science, with respect to coordination, with respect to togetherness. Together we came and signed commitment that we will do to achieve something for our survival, for our the best information, or our day. So the UN General Assembly in 1994 declared the need for why the ozone layer is required to be protected, preserved, and conserved and saved for our purpose. We are the goal, and we have to live in this thing, because the ozone layer it is depleting day by day, resulting penetration of higher solar light, particularly the UVB, that penetrates the earth, and it causes depletion of our natural resources, flora, fauna, and may cause, once the flora, fauna is damaged, our food, etc., is likely to damage, our biodiversity is likely to damage. It will rise the temperature and will be a cause of concern with respect to climate change. So, the Montreal Protocol, it is giving us confidence. When the Montreal Protocol is followed, then we will keep ourselves surviving well, and it will make arrangement for our food, and we will remain peaceful without any confrontation within the environmental infrastructure. So let's understand with chemistry the ozone is, why the ozone is problematic. It is there as a shield, and it is intact in the when it is in the upper atmosphere, but the atmosphere is dynamic. It is a continuous turbulent and dynamic, and always the air is in movement. So ozone is a gaseous form, that is we need to remember. And once it is in gaseous form, it can move very easily to the one center to another center, one point to another point, very easily. The ozone is highly reactive in the sense of oxidative potential. It can burn. It can burn and cause injury wherever it is in contact with that. This is the concern for us. But the thing is that once it is produced at our ground level, we call it tropospheric level. At that time, it is really creating for us. But if it is on the stratosphere, it is a shield for us. It is an umbrella for us. It is protection gear for us. So it blocks the harmful ultraviolet UV rays from the sun, because the sun emanates and gives us all types of lights, and everything is there. So in that thing is a shield for us. So ozone layer is an umbrella. It is the shield that protects the end. That means it don't allow penetration of lights, ultraviolet lights, to our soil, our substratum. And that's why, because soil is the substratum where we live, where we are attached. The entire biodiversity is there, entire food is produced in that atmosphere. So if you can see, there is a blue line there, and that is the stratosphere, and that is the ozone. And if one can see that how this is acting as a blanket over our earth, and so it is a thing. So UV, it is a harmful gases. Incoming harmful UV gas rays are not being allowed by the presence of this layer. So what is that? If you want to describe the light, it consists of infrared, then the visible light, that is the visual that we can see in normal eyes. But In other hand, there are ultraviolet rays. Those are not visible, but these are real harmful, and those also can be classified into three groups. That is UVA, that is the wavelength varies from 315 to 400. UVB, the 218 to 315. This is the problem, UVB. When the wavelength is shorter, the penetration is higher. That we have to remember. The wavelength is the causative event, and the wavelength is the parameter through which we can identify which one is harmful, which one is not harmful. The visible light is not harmful for us. That's why it is visible. We have classified into VGOR, and the ozone layer, if you can see that the visible, it is restricting the flow of light into our earth. So whole is since 1970, ozone has been increasing over sides of Antarctica. In 1970, it was first noticed, and it was that they have called it ozone hole. Hole is nothing but an aperture passing. There is an aperture, there is a gap in the umbrella has been created. A gap has been created in the ozone shield that we are calling it as ozone hole. And for the first time in 2020 became so large. Again, it is dependent on the weather condition. So that's why so 2000, it has recorded the highest. Again in 2000, we have received that it is decreasing in size. The annually occurring ozone hole over the Antarctica is important, is one of the largest and deepest over the Antarctica. Largest and deepest he is talking about in the recent year. And in 2000, it has been reported, analysis show that the hole has reached to its maximum size. So that was the real precaution for all of us. Now, why the ozone behaves like this? What is the difference between the oxygen and the ozone? This is also important. Two atoms are connected to form a diatomic oxygen, while three atoms are attached together to form a triatomic ozone. Now the problem is this: if you see the left-hand side of this thing, once the bondings, the angles are, if it is a compact, it would have worked steadily, but they are segregated. It is a dissociating agents are there. It can break. So the ozone can easily get transformed into oxygen. So this is the problem. Because of their chemical bonding and structure and association of these three atomic oxygen, these are creating more problem, because the angles are lesser and it is easily break. It's just like a lever. If you fulcrum or pulley, if it is not proportionately designed, it will break. Like that, it is a break, and these bondings may break. Now, how the ozone molecules are formed in the atmosphere? The process of ozone creation and destruction is called the Chapman cycle. We have not discovered all these things. It is called the Chapman cycle and starts with the photolysis. Photolysis breaks with light, dissociates with light, photoionization technique. So what is happening because of this breaking property of due to light, it creates problem. It's create problem. So the photon, this is the source of light, we call it. The ozone molecule can absorb the UVC photon and dissociate. So once it releases some energy also. Once the energy is released, it is in the form of heat. That is again creating problem. Destruction is not only the cause. Breakage by the photon, number one. Then when it dissociates, it releases kinetic energy. And when the kinetic energy, when it is transformed into heat energy, that increases the heat in the atmosphere. That is the problem. Now this, it covers around 23 million kilometers square area, huge area. So the problem is, as I told you, this now covers around 23 million square kilometer area. This is creating the shield problem. And the problem. Then who is measuring it? The Global Atmospheric Watch Program. There are Global Atmospheric Watch Program. Copernicus Atmospheric Monitoring Services, number one. Number two is NASA. Number three is Environment and Climate Change Canada. And there are some associated partners. They monitor of the things, and also monitor the penetration and quantified the penetration of these ultraviolet rays. Now this, when it is in the atmosphere, when it has crossed and the light, it can, but the problem is that whatever we are anthropogenically produced, which is the tropospheric ozone, is problematic for us. As I told you in the first, it's very, very oxidative. It can burn. Like carbon with oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide. So same way, the carbon with oxygen, it also comes like this. So when inhaled, it can damage the lungs because our respiratory system. And when it goes through our respiratory system, relative amounts can cause chest pain because when it reaches, it touches in contact with our cellular tissues. It can immediately start coughing, shortness, and breathlessness. And whenever it passes the surface, the corrosive agent that burns the surface and causes all the problem. And this is also sensitive to vegetation and the crops. Once the vegetation and sensitive is the crop, that means our food is directly linked with oxygen or ozone. It is a smog forming, also forms smog. Smog, it is when the eyes are burning, when our gaseous pollutant combines with ozone and the cause it produces the thing. Influence greenhouse gas emission. Higher the solar penetration, higher will be the photosynthetic activity, and there will be higher generation of greenhouse gases. This is the problem with the ozone. Now, the difference of the ozone hole, what I have observed in the October and in 2007, the difference is how it is has increased from in 1990s in 2007. It is increasing in size day by day. This is the evidence of the things. As I told you, these are monitored by different agencies. The size is monitored. The UVB is monitored by the ozone layer, by the NASA, the Environment and Climate Change Canada, and other parts people are doing. The NASA's ozone watch, there is a ozone watch also reports the lowest value of 95 Dobson units recorded in October 1. This is the good sign. Lowest. Last year we have recorded the highest also and the lowest also, which is about is a size of 2018. That means from 2018, the whole increased, then it went to maximum. Again, it came down in October 1, and the size was equivalent to 2018. This is the beauty of Montreal Protocol. That means it increased. Again, it started declining, and as I'm going to conclude that about 16% reduction in 1 year. So this is the 4th October. Last year, the lowest one we have recorded last year. This is the beauty. Last year, it was on 4th of October 2020, we have recorded the 16% reduced ozone hole. And it was equivalent to the size of 2018. That is our success, that we have done it. And this is again a model chart of various years starting from 2003, 2012, 2018, 2019, 2020. And the forecast says, the yellow line, please concentrate on the yellow line. That is, it is in the declining stage last year. And it is matches with our prediction and what we have observed through our ozone watch. So this is the slide taken from them, those who are monitoring this thing. So this is became a success story for us. The yellow line gives a clear indication that it is had reduced significantly to the tune of about 16%. Now, adverse effect of the term, being reactive, as I told you, very reactive, when inhaled can damage respiratory tract, relatively low amounts ozone can be just amount, it may worsen chronic respiratory, probably this is slide had been there, but this is the 4th number point. The direct exposure can damage epithelial tissues. It is damaging, not only, it is damaging epithelial tissue, whether it is a plant tissue or animal tissue or human tissue, it is damaging, and it may cause skin cancer. And that is here. The world reported about 9, sorry, I will tell you the correct figure, some decrease in the cancer level due to ozone in the world. That is again because repairing of the ozone hole. That what is causing this damage? The CFC, common form, about 120 chemical substances that contains chlorine. Dechlorine is the problematic and a constituent for the commonly known as chlorofluorocarbon, chlorofluorochlorine. About 120 items are listed in the ODS. Among these are so stable, but once it dissociates, this chlorine works on the ozone and repeated reaction of chlorine. One chlorine atom can damage some millions ozone. This is the problem with the things, and that's why the Montreal Protocol identified 120 ODS, ozone depleting substances, so that it can be reduced, its uses can be reduced, restricted, and prevented over a period of time, and the replacement can be used so that to preserve ozone layer. So this is the reaction is going on. The reaction is carbon monoxide, non-methane hydrocarbon, the VOCs, then the oxygen. All these are in continuous chain reaction, and this ultraviolet coming from this sun, with the help of nitrogen dioxide, it continuously destroying ozone substances. This chain, scientists wanted to break this chain, but it was not possible, feasible. That's why the problem. If the chain was able to break with some substitutes, the problem would not have aggravated. So this molecule interacted with the interactive molecule, this chlorine, carbon, and oxygen. They are single chlorine atom continuously dissolve mechanism up to many years. This is the problem. So it is such a thing, this chlorine can work for many years, and that is the problem with us. That's why the destruction is happening in the earth. So if we see, coming to the ozone part, let's see what is coming to another chapter. Another chapter is if you see our ambient air quality, natural air, there are 14 components I have listed, 30 gases I have listed, but there is no ozone. So ozone is not designed by the nature. This is understood, clearly understood. Ozone is not required at the ground level. Ozone is not required, these depicts. For the students, I have simplified it. Parts per million, because in air quality monitoring measurement, we described it as a P volume by volume. But in students level, we described in the form of 100 parts per 100. So this is just I wanted to tell. Anyway, notification of our new parameters. CPCB is the body, there they notify the problems, and the first National Ambient Air Quality Standard required in 1984, second one in 1994, which was subsequently revised with the introduction of parameter 1998. So first notification in 1994, second by 84, then 94, then 88, and the present one is notified in 2009. So this is the standard that was the last one declared in 2009. Before that, it was 1998. I just brought this slide for front of the students that there is no ozone in this slide. So even we were not aware the destructive attitude of the ozone. So that's why it was not notified in our standard also. Now, the 2000 side, we have added particulate matter, PM2.5, ozone, benzene, and benzoyapyrene. Because this benzene is a volatile substance and it has an impact on the ozone. So we are started monitoring both ozone also and the benzene also. Plus we had NO2, SO2 and all these parameters where it earlier also was there. So this is the aspect. And also if you see all the standards, it has day standard and annual standard. Except for ozone and carbon monoxide, we have 1 hour standard and 8 hour standard. What does it mean? In short time exposure also it is fatal and dangerous for the human life and vegetation. That's why the ozone is also even 1 hour exposure is dangerous. And that's why it has taken into consideration of 1 hour standard is given. Now the tropospheric, if we go there, tropospheric ground level, it is the food is the product of the ecosystem. Because I'm trying to link the theme with the theme. Now, how it is linked with our Montreal Protocol, how it is giving us keeping us food and the vaccine piece, that means cool, comfortable position, how it is impacting us. The ground level ozone can be harmful with sensitive vegetation and ecosystem. Food is the product of ecosystem. So once the ecosystem is gone, that means our food production is going to have impact. So vegetation has the cooling effect also. Our survival is dependent on the composition of a variety of food ecosystem. So once these are the important structure and requirement for our survival. Ocean is far away from us, but it is giving us continuous supply of oxygen. That's why I told you Northwest is far away from my Kolkata, but it is giving us fresh air and oxygen and acting as a buffer. So the earth is one. So it is. So what I think is that we have to think all these things in a united formation of photochemical smog. Smog means again is a combination of smoke and fog, generally occurs in winter months along the Indo-Gangetic plains. So all these are to be taken care. One of the greenhouse gas is the lifetime product. So Montreal Protocol keeping us our food and vaccine cool. Significance, why? Protocol was signed in 1987 and entered into force on 1st of January 1989. Madam Sophia and the Videshwari Madam also told this is about the Montreal Protocol. The protocol gives a provision to reduce production and consumption of ODS to protect the ozone layer. That is the prime importance, prime focus. It is phases down the ODS in stepwise, not in a drastic way, in phases, so that our economy can survive, our technology can come and replace with the old technology. So it is a phased and time-bound manner. It gives a different timetable for developed and developing countries. That means it has taken care of our society. Because society, it has taken care of the thing. All member countries have specific responsibilities. Who will produce, who will import, who will export, what will be their condition. All these are explained in this Montreal Protocol. So it is our success story, is that told you, and a success story of our participation, success story of our cooperation. Not only at the right from the government level to individual level, this is the protocol speaks of. This is the significance of this thing. So ozone layer is the landmark Montreal environmental agreement. It was related to environment with respect to 100 man-made chemicals, all coolant, those are being used in the refrigeration. Now the list is about 120 chemicals. Initially it was of 100. This universal ratification system, rectification and ratification is same. So it is a commitment that we will work to avoid and operate our society and our economic system without the depleting substances. It has been considered the most successful international environmental action taken countries. As I told you, this is the only thing. The Kyoto Protocol and followed by this Montreal Protocol, they are the success stories of the world. So claim of the success, due to, I'm just reading from here, due to an environmental agreement, it was related to environment. Whenever it comes about environment, we are part of it. Always remember, environment cannot live alone. So we are complementary to environment. The behavior of environmental behavior will depend on our drive, our behavior also. The environment, when it is in the comfortable position, we will also be in the comfortable position. The agreement called Montreal Protocol, the amount of chlorine, again the quantity called reduction of chlorine use. At this moment, I would like to discuss and request all my colleagues, participants here, that please do not burn any chlorinated plastics. All chlorinated plastics is the causative agent for, acts as ODS. Particularly the hospital waste, all chlorinated plastic, please restrict. There should not be any burning of the chlorine particles. This is that chlorine and bromine in the atmosphere has greatly reduced, which has resulted overall shrinking. As I told you, it is not my thing. The 1st October 2020, it has recorded that it has fallen 16%. The Antarctica ozone hole forms during the southern hemisphere late winter. As I told you the graph, how it is seasonal dependent, and that model I told you in different season, that is the thing. Success story, last 2 decades, some signs of recovery of the ozone layers have been observed. It is reducing. Sometimes there is a peak is also there in the mid-latitude upper atmosphere has increased by 1 to 3% in the sense. But in the assuming continued compliance of the Montreal Protocol, the expected recovery of the ozone in the Antarctic springtime column returns to 1980 values of 2060s. What was expected that the depletion will continue till 2060, but we can reduce it to the tune of what we have observed in 1980. This is the beauty of the northern hemisphere. This is the question, southern hemisphere. The mid-latitude ozone returns to 1980 by 2030. So see the target. We are achieving the goal. One is we are going to achieve in 2060 and another in 2030. So our action speaking. Our actions is resulting success stories. In southern hemisphere, the mid-latitude low returns to 1990, that was the size of the ozone around the mid-century. That means 2050. So all the goals are expected to come for reach as anticipated early. So ozone protection efforts have been contributed significantly to slowing climate change. As I told you in the initial says, whenever there is a heat or temperature is concerned, it is directly linked with the warming of the ocean and the climate change. So that avoiding 135 billion tons of carbon dioxide, we have done it. Okay. This 5-year longer, the annual emission reduction for the first commitment period we have also achieved. We have committed to achieve this protocol in 2018 to 12 that we have achieved, which achieved already. So this is the significance. This is the success, and this is the time to celebrate that we can do. We can bring the change for the world, for our survival, for our future generation. The positive impact, it is the sayings what NASA has informed, how many people have been saved from skin cancer, how many implementation, million cases of cancer would have been, we have avoided by doing those two. Cancer means the hospitalization, means the cost, means the productivity loss, means the manpower loss, means the impact on the GDP. So total economic loss has been avoided because of this protocol. So the sayings by the Shakti is save ozone and save earth. If we are able to save our ozone, we will be able to save our food. We'll be able to return the climate change activities and all these things. Thank you very much. Now, I hope I have not taken much time, but my gratitude, my sincere thanks, and I will be the happiest to answer some of the questions, please.
Thank you, sir, for a very informative speech. There is one question from Sayani Day. Sir, in 2020, ozone hole in Antarctica have finally closed. How did it happen, irrespective of the climate change in recent years?
No, it is, there is, climate change is a comparative statement. personally, I feel if there is no change in the climate, there will no change, there will no revolution, evolution. The chapter is to be deleted from our success story. Darwin, this story they have told, it is a change will be there. Change is always good. Change is brings us adaptation. Climate change, I do not agree with the climate change things, but temperature is creating problem for us. And once we are able to reduce the atmospheric temperature, we can reduce and return many of the climate change, so-called climate change disasters. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is here another question from Supriya Thingbaism. How is ozone expected to change in the coming decades?
Not decade, as I told you, and three hemispheres, the position. The first one in the southern one will try 2030, one goal we are going to achieve. Then in 2050 and to 2060, we are going to have the likely to bring back the 1990 situation in our stratospheric ozone shield. This is anticipated and projected. It's because we have already achieved our goal of 2008 to 2012, like last 5 years, so quickly. So scientists are expecting that there will be fast change in the first return of our ozone shield.
Sir, another question from Sumitra Pal. Discuss about some procedure to measure ozone damage on plants.
Some ozone damage on the plants. Actually, the ozone antidotes, there are chemicals which are being used for the purpose, because there are injuries have been reported. I was fortunate to work with Professor Madhulika Agarwal of Banaras in the university. So they were controlled condition, and they were created ozone condition they have done, and they were able to prepare something and able to prove something. I will give you the literature in that kind, so that you people can understand. I will talk to Madhulika Madam and pass on the literature in this concept.
Thank you once again, sir. I request Professor Asagupta to give a presidential speech. Over to Professor Asagupta.
Honorable Chief Guest of today's function, Dr. Dipankar Saha. So we are happy to have you with us this fine evening, and a very good information was revealed to the students, that what is the success story of this Montreal Protocol. This is a very auspicious day, rather I should say, because rather first I will say what sir has told, just summing up, and then I will come to some other point. So sir is linking himself with the Northeast as an ecologist, as a geographer, and he is saying that it is not unknown to him as an ecologist, or geographer, environmentalist. He said that the theme of Montreal Protocol this year, 2021, as every year the UN is giving theme, it is keeping us our food and vaccines cool. So he's saying cool here, it is just, the vaccine shield, as it protects us, like the ozone shield, it has protected our health, our ecosystem, ensure food security, mitigating climate change. So he's saying what is cool here, it is ensuring, he's saying prosperity, it is ensuring survival, our survival, it is ensuring our food our food security, and it is just active. Ozone shield is as active as the vaccine, and it is just working as the vaccine shield for all of us, for all the humanity, to make a prosperous world. In this way, he started his talk. He talked about the 1994 UN proclamation of ozone layer protection. Then he came again to 21st this 2021 success story. The theme he related with it. He talked what is ozone. It is reactive. It is protective. Then he talked in the stratosphere where it is present since 1970. Ozone hole, it is increasing in size over Antarctica. He has shown the picture to us. And then how it is becoming larger. He has told about the molecular formation about ozone. He talked about Chapman cycle, how ozone molecules form in the atmosphere. He also mentioned about the adverse effect of tropospheric ozone. A lot of agencies are there. Some agencies are there which are monitoring the penetration of ultraviolet rays to this ozone hole, like NASA, Environment and Climate Change, Canada, Copernicus Center, and others. And then how it is then damaging to lung, skin cancer is caused, respiratory infection is there, how the vegetation and ecosystem get affected, how the photochemical smoke formation is there, how they affect greenhouse gas and the lifetime. He has compared, shown the picture that the ozone hole in 1979 and 2007. Then how it is increasing, it is shown. And 2021 October picture. So it is fantastic picture, and then we have seen that the reduction is there. The ozone hole is shrinking, and 16% reduction is observed. The reduction to the tune of 16% is really amazing, and then it shows that how global effort, Montreal Protocol, of all governments, industries, of different stakeholders, it has given this hope, this opportunity that we will be surviving, we will be ensuring our survival, prosperity, security in different ways, and security, food security in different ways. He's shown the model showing improved ozone column. The substances which are damaging the ozone layer, the CFCs, he told 120 chemicals which are containing chlorine, he talked about them. Some of them, they have estimated lifespan of more than 100 years. And then how one chlorine molecule, it can affect million of ozone molecules. He talked about the formation mechanism at ground level of ozone, how CFC molecules get interacted with ozone. He has talked at the lower level, then he has talked about the composition of ambient air, notification of new parameters, it was very interesting. Then as sir happened to be the head there in the CPCB, it is really very interesting to know. Then he talked about the National Ambient Air Quality Standard 1998 and 2009, that what changes have been taken place, like benzene and then ozone, like that. So other things which are entered there that he has mentioned, and that is being monitored there. He talked about the adverse effect of tropospheric ozone, that how the ground level ozone can cause harmful effects over the ecosystem, our food, etc. That he talked in detail. He already talked about this when he talked about Montreal Protocol, that it was signed in 1987, but however, 1st January 1989, it came into existence. It became effective, which is there about the protection of ozone layer, so important to us, which phases down the use of ODS in a stepwise manner, time-bound manner, and different timetable is there for developing and developed countries, and all parties they have got their specific responsibilities. So these are the basic features of Montreal Protocol, which he has talked about it. Then our success story is coming to it, that how it is, this is the rather only environment agreement, global agreement with global efforts. It has shown the landmark achievement, and then it is possible because of the cooperation from government level to the individual level. This is a multilateral environmental agreement, and it is really a landmark which regulates about 100 chemicals, where the production, consumption, etc. It is regulated, which are all man-made chemicals, and this effort only it has helped in leveling off the concentration of these ODS. So the success story he has mentioned, it's very interesting, that how in 2000, since 2000, and then now 2020 when it is measured, the shrinking of ozone hole is observed. It is due to only Montreal Protocol and abiding by it by all the governments. 197 nations, you see, they have all ratified the convention, Viana Convention, and also which is about the protection of ozone layer, and the Montreal Protocol. 197 nations. So this is the success story of last 2 decades, which we can see, which we can observe. And then he has told that how the phasing out it will help, I mean, in the reduction of ozone, and in different continent, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, over Antarctica, etc. So, and very important that how it is mitigating climate change. He has told that 135 billion tons of CO2 equivalent from 1990 to 2010. It is already, I mean, it is already reduced. In this way, it is already avoided by this. So in this way, a great achievement is there as far as the climate change mitigation is there. So here rather we can say the kudos to the UN effort, the effort of all governments, all the people, all the stakeholders, and the individual efforts which are involved in, which is behind other this success story. So sir, thank you so much for explaining very beautifully and in a very, what to say, cordial and coherent manner all the aspects, the chemistry of it, the mechanism of it, how it started, then how it proceeded, how it was monitored, the ozone hole was monitored by different funding agencies, how it has, what are the mechanisms, or how it is affecting the health, what is the impact of it, all those things, every aspect, sir has covered. So, sir, we are very thankful to you for your deliberation. Now, just on my part, I will like to say only few things, because sir has covered in detail everything. We know that we are observing this day and the international days and weeks or occasions to educate the public on issues of concern. It is also to mobilize public will, political will, and also resources to address the global problem. So it reinforces rather that how we are celebrating, the humanity is celebrating, for example, this the success of this Montreal Protocol today. We are celebrating in the form of the theme, which is also very significant for this year 2021. On this day, I mean, every year we are celebrating, but still, it is our duty to tell the people, because some people don't know what is ozone hole, what is the importance of ozone layer, ozone shield, or what is Montreal Protocol. So by through these events, it becomes, I mean, the awareness level increases, and it is our responsibility to make all the stakeholders aware. Different school, colleges, institutions, they are taking different programs. students are participating at different levels, and then showing, their part through their participation, the level of knowledge, the participation, the status which is at present there in the international community, that is all marked and it is noted. So now for the participants who are here, it is not a naive topic to them because they are students of ecology or environmental science. So I think, they know the mechanism and the problem which is happening, which happened with the with the increase of ozone layer and so on and so forth. We know that a number of substances, chemicals are there which are extremely damaging to ozone layer. Sir has already talked about the halocarbons, where one or more carbon atoms are linked to one or more halogen atoms, like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, or iodine. And here, the much higher ozone depleting potential is there in the halocarbons, which contain bromine. Now, the man-made chemicals that have provided most of the chlorine and bromine for ozone depletion are methyl bromide, methyl chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, and families of chemicals which are known as halones, chlorofluorocarbons, and hydrochlorofluorocarbons. Let us talk about Viana Convention. It is there for protection of ozone layer, and it was adopted and signed by 28 countries on 22 March 85. And in 87, it led to drafting of Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer. In 94, UN General Assembly proclaimed 16 September as the International Day for Preservation of Ozone Layer, which is commemorating the date of signing in 1987 the Montreal Protocol on the substances that deplete ozone layer. Sir has already told. It is resolution number 49 by 114. So, the aim of Montreal Protocol, as we know, it is to control total global production and consumption of substances that deplete it, and the ultimate objective of their elimination on the basis of development in scientific knowledge and technological information. So there is phasing out at different levels. India is now there in phase 2. As we know that Sir has already talked that protocol requires the control of nearly 100 chemicals. They are in different categories, and then each group is there, or the annex of chemicals is there. So the phasing out timetable for production and consumption of these chemicals are there. Of course, the ultimate aim is to eventually eliminate them completely. However, there are some exceptions. For example, there are some essential uses where no other substitutes are available till now. For example, the meter dose inhalers, MDI, which is commonly used to treat asthma and other respiratory problems, are halon fire suppression systems, which are used in submarines and aircraft. So here it is allowed, but otherwise the phasing out program is already there. So earlier, for example, when we talk of phasing out program, the first attention was there, where on the chemicals which are having higher ozone depleting potential. These are the chlorofluorocarbons and halogens. So it was the phase out schedule in the first preference phase, and then in that phase the hydrochlorofluorocarbons were more relaxed due to their lower ozone depleting potential, and because they have also been used as transitional substitute for CFCs. But in the next phase, it was the turn for SCFC. So hydrochlorofluorocarbon was taken in the next phase. So we know Sir has already told for developing and developed country the different timetable is there, and as says the Montreal Protocol, and we know that this is the protocol, environmental agenda with environmental agenda, and universal agreement universal ratification we have achieved, as we said, that 197 countries they have ratified the protocol and the convention, Viana Convention. Then there is one more addition. Kigali Amendment is there. The parties to the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer reached their agreement on 28th meeting of parties in 2016, 15 October in Kigali, which is there in Rwanda, to phase down hydrofluorocarbons also. So this is also important for students to remember Kigali Amendment. Now we know Sir has already told the importance of ozone layer, significance of ozone layer, and then we know that what are the global efforts to phase out these chemicals. These global efforts, as Sir has also said very nicely, that how it has helped in addressing the problem of climate change also. Besides, it has protected human health. He has given the data for skin cancer and others. So it has protected the human health and ecosystem by limiting the harmful ultraviolet radiation from reaching the earth. So it is very relevant that this foresight is reaching all the importance of the ozone layer, the importance of World Ozone Day, and the importance of theme which is there, which is showing the success story as Sir has already mentioned. It shows what? It shows that the ozone layer is healing. The hole in the ozone layer is healing, and it is there for protecting human health. It is there for protecting economies. It is there for protecting ecosystems. So this year on 16 September, when we are observing this World Ozone Day, here we are observing with the Corona protocol. We are among this pandemic, and then we are people are observing when they are meeting social distancing, or we are there online. So we know that we are on the path of slowing climate change and helping to boost energy efficiency in the cooling sector, which contributes to food security. Because if there is energy efficiency in refrigeration, then there will be less of food wastage, there will be more of food security. So in this way, energy efficiency increasing in the refrigeration system is contributing to our food security. As India is also a party to this convention, it has taken all these programs, and successfully we are there in the phase two. Um, as we know that India has taken some other programs also of where this refrigeration cold chain. We know it is absolutely essential for all countries, and it is a direct relationship on reducing the food loss and food waste, protecting public health, and supporting the economy. So, in this way, Montreal Protocol becomes a shining example that governments, industries, dedicated individuals, they have continued to show for protecting the global environment, and it continued even during the pandemic. So, what to say in the last, I will say that we should continue our efforts, strengthen our efforts, and spread awareness on preserving the ozone layer. It is very much important for our future generation to survive in an eco-friendly environment. So it is imperative to preserve and sustain the biodiversities because harming nature is detrimental to the progress of humankind. So we have already success story. Let us cherish, let us celebrate it on this day. And with these words, I thank our team of Shakti and Seed. I thank our honorable speaker, Dr. Dipankar Saha, who is so polite. He has not given his biodata also. Somehow I tried to get some information for him, just to introduce to our audience, to our students, because it is very much important, though a formality, but still it is important, sir. And then we are very happy, sir, to have you with us this fine evening. So I am also thankful to all members, also especially Santosh Nahakam, for managing this online program. So with these words, I thank Sophia, I thank uh, Biteswari, but the formal vote of thanks will be announced by Dr. Biteswari. So over to you, Biteswari.
Thank you, Professor. Now I request Dr. S. Iwe Chowbi of Patrick College and executive member of Manipur Sakti to propose vote of thanks. Over to.
So thank you, Dr. Biteshwari, for giving this opportunity, and with the permission from the chair. First of all, I thank Dr. Dipankar Saha, who is our chief guest of today's webinar, and this thing Manipur Sakti and SEED is organizing program on the observation of World Ozone Day on this 16th September. This thing, first of this thing, I again thank Dr. Dipankar Saha. He gave an elaborate and knowledgeable talk on the theme of 2020-21 Montreal Protocol, Keep Us Our Food and Vaccine Good. So once again, I thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time and giving all our participants and many delegates a knowledgeable lecture, and for sparing your valuable time. Thank you, sir, once again. And next, I thank to Madam Asa Gupta, who is the convener and president of Manipur SEED, and Sakti. Madam has given an elaborate submission of on the sir's topic, and she also supplemented on the sir's talk. Thank you, Madam, once again for your devotion and for sparing your valuable time also. And I also thank Dr. Biteshwari and Dr. Sophia Moyangtham also for a good support and for highlighting today's webinar. And next, I thank Santosh, who is program officer of Sakti NC, for organizing this e-platform for the success of the observation of World Ozone Day 2020-21. And next, I thank all the participants who is gathering on today's platform and sparing your valuable time and hearing our distinct lecturers from our delegate, distinct Sir Dipankar Saha. So I thank all of you for making this webinar a success. So thank you once again all.